Okay, so before we begin our meeting, I'd like to talk a little bit about earthing. And it's utilizing a powerful natural healing energy that's available to all of us. I first became aware of earthing, that was in 2014. I was at the American Academy of Integrative Medicine meeting. And one of the speakers was Dr. Steven Sinatra. Dr. Steven Sinatra is an alternative cardiologist. He's published a couple of books. He currently lives in Florida, and I had the pleasure of making his acquaintance. But he began his talk at the meeting, and mind you, there were close to 1,000 people at the meeting. He says, "The greatest discovery in my life as an alternative doctor was earthing." And he says this is so important that he gave everybody in attendance at the meeting a copy of his book called Earthing. So if you haven't read the book, definitely get a copy of it and read it. But I'm going to summarize the content in the book, and this helped educate me on earthing in addition to talking to Dr. Steven Sinatra. He was a guest on my radio show a couple of times, and I believe in the podcast archives. If you go to Condrot Podcast, there may be a recording. So the Earth is a 6 sextillion ton battery, and it has a powerful electrical charge. Lightning strikes kind of energize the Earth. And the Earth has a pulse. Schumann calculated this frequency to be about 7.83 hertz. And interestingly, the human brain also has frequencies of its own, and many of you are aware of that, the alpha frequency, beta, gamma, and delta. And when we are in a relaxed state, this frequency falls between 7.5 and 14. So is this a coincidence? So the resonance of the Earth kind of resonates with our body. Now here's an interesting fact. Since 1967, when we began recording medical publications on inflammation, there has been a dramatic increase in the number of articles published on inflammation. And I think we can all agree that inflammation is one of the primary causes of all disease. If we can reduce inflammation, we would correct a lot of our physical abnormalities, especially eye problems. And when we're using microcurrent in light therapy, we're reducing inflammation. So inflammation is a cause of your macular degeneration, your glaucoma, and your cataracts. Now, something interesting occurred in the 40s, right around World War II. We went from using leather-soled shoes to rubber-soled shoes. Now, why am I telling you this? Well, leather is a conductive material. If you're walking around with leather shoes, you're being grounded to the earth. If you're wearing rubber-soled shoes, you're not being grounded. So essentially, our entire society went from being grounded, walking, connected to the earth, that Schumann frequency, the electrical magnetic energy of the earth, to being ungrounded. So many of us live our entire life not being grounded to the earth. And if you want more information, and I'll be sending all of you a copy of this, theearthinginstitute.net. This gives a lot of information on how you can become grounded to the earth. Now, what are the benefits of grounding? Well, improved circulation, calming of the nervous system, normalization of cortisol. And, under stress, we have cortisol imbalances. Also, we have better sleep. Better sleep is essential for our body to regenerate. and reduced inflammation. Unfortunately, right around the time that we began to use rubber-soled shoes, there's been a proliferation of dirty electricity. And I'm talking about our good old friends, the cell phone. I'm talking about computers. I'm talking about microwaves. We are being bombarded by dirty electricity. If you could see that dirty electricity, it would be almost like we're living in an electromagnetic soup where all these waves are just bouncing all around of us. This became really apparent to me when I was doing research on microcurrent. Ning Wu, the brilliant electrical engineer, had hooked up an oscilloscope to my chest, and he was sending in different microcurrent signals. So we were testing the different signals that you're using right now. So if he would send in a certain frequency into my body, we would record it on the oscilloscope to make sure that it was actually being conducted in my body. So he disconnected the microcurrent machine, and there was a beep on the oscilloscope, a pattern. And I said to Ning, "Oh, that must be my heart rate." He said, "No, that's not your heart rate. You're picking up the electromagnetic frequencies in the circuitry in the room," which I was kind of shocked. I mean, how could that be? But anytime electricity flows through a wire, it produces an electromagnetic wave. So if you have an electrical appliance that is being run in your home, you're subjected to this dirty electricity. And of course, more and more people are becoming sensitive to this dirty electricity. But the point I'm trying to make is this dirty electricity is drowning out the noise of the Schumann frequencies. It's destroying the Schumann frequencies. So we're becoming more and more disconnected from the earth. So how many of you have had a vacation on the beach? Well, it's wonderful. And one of the reasons why it's wonderful, besides being on vacation and maybe not working and relaxing, you are being grounded to the earth. So when your feet touch that salt water, you are being grounded to the vast ocean. It's a tremendous, tremendous grounding ability. So, but you don't have to be on the ocean. You can just simply walk barefooted. Also, if you do have a concrete floor in your home or ceramic, for some reason that has a grounding ability, because in concrete they put rebar rods in, and it is sunk into the ground, so you are grounded. But if you have a wooden floor or carpeting, you're not grounded. Now, the way to get around that is that all homes have a grounding in the socket. So these earthing companies, they have developed different products where you can use the grounding adapter on your circuit to help you develop a device to ground yourself. These are the steps. Step number one is you check your wall outlet. And most of you have an electrical system where you do have a ground. And then there's a safety adapter which goes in. And that is connected to a grounding device. And there's several on the market. My wife and I, we have this sleep pad, which we sleep on that helps ground us. And there's also a grounding pillow. And my favorite is a computer mat. So, when I'm doing work on the computer, I'm in my bare feet and they're sitting on this grounding mat. So this is the book. It's available online. And there are hundreds of case reports in this book and a lot of scientific studies. I don't want to really go into, but he does report on 2 eye conditions, one with diabetic eye disease, one with glaucoma. and also a case of a corneal transplant rejection being reversed with earthing. So what I'm going to ask those of you that if you haven't done grinding, if you do have macular degeneration, maybe begin a course of grinding. You don't have to buy it at a mat, a grinding mat, but just experiment taking a walk outside with your bare feet. Of course, winter's coming, so I don't advise you walking outside when it's snow on the ground. That's going to be, you'll end up getting some frostbite. But experiment with grinding. And also, I'm going to ask those of you that have glaucoma, I do believe that grinding can help lower the intraocular pressure. So those of you that are suffering from grinding, or not from glaucoma, maybe begin to do some grinding to see if that helps your intraocular pressure. Also, the Schumann frequencies are in your microcurrent machines. So when you're doing your eye program, you are receiving the Schumann frequencies. I have those in your protocols. Also, I believe that grinding in combination with the microcurrent may produce a more significant effect because your body is being grounded. So that would cause some benefit.